we're gonna play a little trick on Mr. Martian. You may have watched one of my previous videos where I made the sage oxymel, and it has a little bit of vinegar in it. Mr. Martian is not a fan of vinegar, so I am going to try and mask it. There's honey in here, there's sage, and then there's apple cider vinegar. I'm also going to be trying to mask it with some of my favorite ginger ale. This stuff is awesome. It's at Azure Standard. I'll put the link down below. I love this stuff. But regardless, we're gonna do a little taste test with Mr. Martian. I'm super excited to see which one is his favorite, if he likes them. He is a super honest guy, so he will definitely give honest feedback. We have here a hawthorn berry syrup. Hawthorn berries are great to lower your blood pressure. You can get the dry. These are fresh that we have local in our area, actually just down our driveway. And then this is echinacea tincture with echinacea from our yard. So I'll be giving him some of that. These are both fully loaded tinctures, so they do have alcohol in them. This sage oxymel does not. It's just honey, vinegar, and sage. And then elderberry syrup. So this is sweet. You may have had elderberry syrup before, but we actually have elderberries growing around us. Every year I make elderberry syrup. I actually have a free guide on how to cure a cold in 24 hours and includes this elderberry syrup recipe. I'm pretty sure he's gonna love that. That just has some honey and the elderberries, and I believe I put some cinnamon in it, Ceylon cinnamon, which is actually really good for balancing your blood sugar. Again, I love buying that at Azure Standard. And then I purchased from Azure this elderberry syrup that's pre-made. So I wanted you guys to have an option of something that you could buy online that you didn't have to make. You can also make the elderberry syrup with dried elderberries, and you can also get those on Azure Standard. But I thought I'd try this and see if he notices a difference or which one he likes better. This morning I also just made this elderberry shrub. It just has elderberries, honey, and vinegar. I'm not gonna torment him too much and make him try this. Plus I just made it, so you wanna let it sit a week or two, and you wanna shake it every day. Again, it just has elderberries, honey, and apple cider vinegar. It's just a 1-1-1 ratio, so I do about a half a cup of each. And that recipe you can also find in my free guide. If you don't mind vinegar, it just has a hint of vinegar, and it is so good. It's like a little mocktail. It's perfect for if you're feeling under the weather or just even as preventative. And you just strain this after a couple weeks, and then I like to top it with some sparkling water or ginger ale, and it's absolutely delicious. You guys are gonna love it. Before we actually do the taste test, we finally get to strain our sage oxymel, which I'm really excited about. So we're just gonna dump it in here. It's been sitting for a while now. All the beautiful medicinal properties of the sage, antibacterial, antiviral, so many great things to keep you healthy, all natural. That's ready to go. Now all I have to do is pour it in the mason jar, and then I'm going to save a little bit and pour it for Mr. Martian. I'm just gonna do a little bit. I have to try it first to make sure. I'm sure he's gonna notice, but we can try. Oh yeah, he's gonna notice. We will try. Okay, now we gotta top it. If I pour that on top, you get it first, so it might be kind of cheating, but we're gonna go with it. I really like it. We won't do that first. This is the echinacea tincture. Just has vodka and echinacea, that's it. And then this one is the hawthorn berry tincture, and this actually has Ceylon cinnamon in it too, so it's really delicious. So it's just vodka and the hawthorn berries and the cinnamon that's been sitting for a while. That one is delicious. I'm going to pour some elderberry syrup in here. A little messy, that's okay. I actually haven't had this stuff yet. It's definitely darker in color. I must have added more things. Oh, peppermint oil, eucalyptus oil, thyme oil, myrrh oil. Very cool. That's good stuff. How pretty is that? Mr. Martian here. Are you ready for your taste test?
Maybe.
I do have to say, I did warn him that there is one with a little vinegar in it.
I don't react well to vinegar.
I know, he doesn't like vinegar, so I didn't want to be really mean wife and just surprise him with the vinegar. So we'll see if he can guess which one. I'm sure he's going to guess it, but.
Okay.
Okay, so
what are we doing here?
we have 5 different tastings here, so just choose which one you like the best. And then maybe when you're going through, just talk about, you know, whether you like it or not, if it tastes good.
Am I supposed to shoot them or am I?
No, just sip them.
Just sip
Yeah.
them. So this is like a wine tasting.
Exactly. Or whiskey. You know.
Whiskey tasting sounds better
Yeah.
than vinegar. Okay, so I'm not going to smell it though, because if I smell
No,
it,
don't smell it.
it's going to,
Yeah.
I'm not going to, I'll like start throwing out.
Don't do that.
Okay.
Just sip.
That one's okay. Yeah. That's actually like a very light whiskey, almost. It's leaded, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's leaded. Yeah, that one. So I got no problem with that one. So that one we'll put over there it's good.
Okay.
I'm just worried about which one has the vinegar.
Maybe you could talk about the notes on it, like you were doing a whiskey tasting.
Well, I can't smell much, so I can't actually taste a lot of things.
Okay.
Meaning, I can taste food, but like trying to say like, oh, this contains rosemary or this or that, like I'm no good at that.
Well, I do have to tell you a funny story. So one of our very first dates, we went wine tasting with a group of people. And it was where you could have the little notes where you could talk about the tasting notes. And he was like, this white wine tastes like cat pee.
It smelled like cat pee.
Oh, smelled like cat pee.
Yeah.
I just thought, oh my.
The server, I was her new best friend because I was like, no BS, you know, normally
Yeah,
you get the wine snobs that are like, oh, it's aroma of dirt, you know, and it's like, nobody knows what that means. So I was like, this smells like cat pee. She started laughing. That's how I won her over.
Yeah.
Okay, this one is like a lighter whiskey.
So both of these you could see yourself just sitting and sipping?
Yeah, I could put these on the rocks as a drink and have no problem with that at all. And apparently it's good for me.
It's excellent for you.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'm getting a little worried here because this one looks like it has layers. Oh, you guys don't know how much I don't like vinegar. All right, that's very syrupy. And
Yeah.
if is it the one that had vinegar in it?
No.
Okay, all right. So that's scary. Because I was going to tell you that, like, you did a good job camouflaging the vinegar, if that was the case. I see it looks like it has layers in it, so I thought for sure this was the vinegar one. It's more like a malt, like a chocolate almost, like a dessert thing.
Here you go.
Okay. Well, that one's really good. That's like really fruity. You can almost pour that over ice cream and like it's a dessert kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That means this is the one that has the nasty in it.
At least you know and you're prepared.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. It's not fair to you to use me to taste anything that has vinegar.
I know. And I warned them.
When I start feeling sick, like a scratchy throat or any of those types of things, I'm like, hey, you know, Dr. Alicia, medicine woman, I need one of your concoctions. So she brought me over one once and I was already having a kind of a hard time. It was like a tight throat kind of thing. And so she brought over this concoction. And anyway, I shot it, which is what I normally do. And I just started coughing and hacking and almost threw up.
It was so bad. I felt so bad.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
And she knows to put hardly any vinegar in it. And that's the kind of reaction that I have with vinegar. So there's not a lot of apple cider vinegar, I presume.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which is at least somewhat bearable. And anyone, normal vinegar is just, I can't even stand it.
And I did mask it. I even put the ginger ale on
Yeah.
top of it to try.
So I'd say if you're used to kombucha or any of those things, you're gonna like that. But I don't like kombucha. In fact, I despise it because it has a vinegary taste in it.
Yeah. But you like pickles, which is weird.
I do like pickles, but I don't have any juice, and the pickle usually, like if it's been in their jar for a long time, I can't eat it. But the small little dill pickles, or the ones that you've made, you know, they're good.
Yeah.
So I would say overall, all of these are really, really good. And if you're into kombucha, this one is sweet. You can taste the ginger ale in it. If I wasn't so against the evil of vinegar, I would say that's completely fine. But all the rest of them are actually like...
So which one was your favorite out of all those?
Well, the one that's most memorable is the one that's the like fruitiest. Is that an elderberry?
That's the elderberry syrup that I made.
Yeah, so she's really good at that. And that was one of the cool things that she's been doing is there's so many medicinals that she's learned about around the house that we don't have to go out and get a whole bunch of medicine because she's doing a good job at keeping us from getting sick. It's not like one of those things you're like, oh, you know, my arm's falling off, let me take some vinegar. That's not what you're doing. Mm-hmm. She's doing more of the preventative. It used to be when I started feeling sick at all, I would take 2,000 milligrams of vitamin C, 2,000 milligrams of echinacea. I do that twice a day, and now we're pretty much replacing buying those things with your tinctures.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, the echinacea tincture does a really good job. And my guide that I talked about earlier is how to cure a cold in 24 hours, and that may seem exaggerated, but it has worked for us, and we know that when we start to get sick, we're able to ward it off with these natural remedies. Now we are doing other things like the carnivore diet, which we're going to talk about later.
But not when we're getting sick like that. I'm going to back you up on this one. Is like we've done carnivore. You're completely right, but we've been doing this for years.
Yeah, that's true.
So even before we did carnivore, which I'm not on right now, I need to get back on. She was doing these things, and they have a measurable impact. So if you talk to anybody, I mean, you guys are probably the same way. Everybody has like the thing you do, your protocol when you start to feel sick.
Mm-hmm.
Some people eat a bunch of garlic, or eat a flu, start of a cold, or whatever. There's these old sayings, and there's yeah, that's fine. The point is that if you talk to anybody, most people, I won't say all of them, especially in today's world, but anyone who's got some of the old world in them, you're going to hear those stories. And this is definitely one that works. It's hard to measure, right? You can't say, if you do this, you're never going to get sick. And right. I don't think that's what you're trying to say here.
No, because there are so many other factors that play into it. Like, are you eating McDonald's every day? Well, your immune system is probably worn down.
If you have a lot of inflammation, which is where the grounding, chronic carnivore, disease, all those kind of things, they're finding are all related. Yeah. So for us, though, I think because we can go out and forage, which, if you get out of the city and you get out of town, a lot of you are going to be able to find these types of things. Mm-hmm. But she can go out, either you're growing it, mm-hmm. like she's cultivated it, or you're growing it, you just went like echinacea, or it's wild, and she's able to go get the roots or get the leaves or do all this. And I love making fun of her for all of it, but it really does actually work, and it's far better than going out and buying all that stuff. And what I mean by far better is you're more independent, you're more self-sustaining, you know exactly what the ingredients are, and you can judge what the results are based on how it interacts with your body. Whereas if you go and get supplements, if you go and get vitamins or any of those things, most of the time they can lie because of like the food coloring and the different types of ingredients. Mm-hmm. A lot of times they don't even have to explain what's in the product. They're supposed to, but they don't. They have ways around it.
Not only that, it's the processing. I mean, you don't know what they're using to process all of this, or the heavy metals that may be leaching into what you're getting. So there's so many things. It's so much better just to make it yourself. The really cool thing is even if you don't have these around you where you can forage them, you can buy them online for fairly inexpensively dried. So I have recipes in my guide on how to use dried elderberries. You can use dried echinacea. There are so many ways that you can still make your own medicine even if you live in the city.
Yeah, so I definitely think, like I said, all these would pass, guys. If you're out there and you're wondering if your medicine woman is making something that's going to make you throw up, none of these are going to. In fact, you're going to enjoy them. They could, like I said, they could be cocktails. They have that kind of flavor. It's definitely not like vinegar.
Yeah. This one is actually store-bought, and it has essential oils in it, which is the separation that you saw. So you can definitely buy them pre-made online as well, and there will be links in the description for that. This one is the echinacea tincture, so that one you really liked. Yeah, this is our go-to remedy. I usually, for myself, I take a little what I call a power shot, which is in my free guide.
Usually about 7 a.m. every morning. Power shot.
No.
It's how I like to get the day started.
No. So it just has the echinacea tincture, and then I put some elderberry syrup, and then I put some apple cider vinegar, or you could do the sage oxymel. So great antibacterials. And then this one is the hawthorn berry syrup. This we actually had the other night, and Jeff was like, this is really good. This has cinnamon in it, so that really helps with the flavor as well. And again, it's just vodka. It's nothing special, and the herb and cinnamon.
Yeah, and I'm cheap, so it's bottom shelf vodka.
It is.
You don't have to spend a lot of money going out and buying Kettle One or any of those fancy things to be able to do this. You just need basic alcohol, even
Right.
grain alcohol. You could distill your own. If you guys, part of the Real Martian is being able to do things on your own. So you can get a little micro still, which you can buy on Amazon. You don't need one of the big copper pots. You can get your own distiller and just make grain alcohol and do this. You need to cut it, and she's not talking about those instructions, so you got to go check that out on your own. But you can do this, and again, I think that's really important, especially for sustainability, for self-sufficiency, being able to take care of yourself, take care of your family, your loved ones. These are great things that if you're into bartering and trade, you could put this together and trade with people for food or for other things. And a lot of this, quite honestly, take it for granted, the medicines that we have available to us. And that's one of the things that Alicia has spent a lot of time learning about, is how to make medicines, antivirals, antibacterials, anti-inflammatories, also known as ibuprofen, aspirin, Tylenol, and getting all those things out of the ground. Far better than the big pharmaceutical companies that are out there. So there's time and place for everything. Make sure you check with your doctor, blah, blah, blah.
I'm really excited to announce that I'm actually doing an in-person workshop course. So if you're local to the Columbia River Gorge, this Friday at a local coffee shop, there'll be details in the description. You can come join me and learn how to make these in person. So I'm really excited to share how to do this. Again, the recipes are down below, but there's nothing like learning in person on how to make your own medicine. So really excited to share that with everybody.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I'm very, very proud of you and everything that you're doing. And we're using the channel, The Real Martian is all about helping people learn how to do things without depending on experts to do it. And she's come a long way, spent years doing this stuff, learning, and now she's sharing. And don't worry, I'll be back on The Real Martian as well. I've got a bunch of work and stuff that I'm still taking care of. But I intend to be back and share some more stuff with you guys as well. We got some interesting things that are happening these days. So thank you for following along.
Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I would love to hear from you, but thank you so much for tuning in. Have an awesome day.
It's The Real Martian, out.